tour here.
It's just the two of us.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
your own private tour.
Very good.
So just be very careful, these steps are pretty steep.
Okay.
All of the buildings around the tower were added about 200 years after the tower itself was built.
Okay.
So this tower was built in the 1420s then by the O'Donnell clan. And the O'Donnells back then were like the kings of Donegal, or Sheephaven as they call it. So they built lots of these towers along the coast to protect their lands from any invaders then, and to also keep an eye on the different clans around them, also for trade and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So about 20 years after they built this tower then, they gave it over to the MacSweeney clan, and the MacSweeneys sailed over from the west coast of Scotland as gallowglass soldiers. So the gallowglasses back then were like mercenaries, so they were paid and given gifts to fight for the O'Donnells then, and their different battles.
So the castle was a gift, was it? Or
It was indeed, yeah. Well, I suppose it's paid
Was
a
a
gift. Some kind of a gift.
Yeah.
But yeah, a gift with a bit of trade then. I guess.
Okay.
So the MacSweeneys were regarded as very powerful fighters, and then the O'Donnells employed them, I suppose, to persuade other people. So yeah, once the MacSweeneys were given this, then they stayed here for over 150 years in Doe. So this was kind of their main tower, I guess, or their main HQ. So yeah, they based quite a lot of their plan and their decisions out of here as well.
Okay.
Although they did have 3 or 4 different other towers around, this was their main.
This was our main.
So because of that then, there were quite a few chieftains living here in Doe. There were 13 MacSweeney chieftains that stayed here in all in their 150 years of being here. And the chieftains at that time were in charge of the entire clan, and they decided what they would do, what battles they'd fight in, and so on. So of these 13, we actually don't have records for 11 of them, just as the way history goes. So we have no idea who they were or what they did. Just for whatever reason, from 1570 to 1596 then.
Right, yes.
So the reason he was written about is because he's said to have been a very kind and generous man.
Okay.
So I suppose in the middle of his stay here in Doe was the Spanish Armada in 1588, and that's when Spain sent their ships across to attack England and to take that land for themselves. But they were famously defeated by the English navy then and made to retreat around the west coast of Ireland. And as jagged and as rocky as it is, it wasn't really the easiest task for them to sail around the west coast of Ireland. And the weather also played a huge part in it, but many of their ships shipwrecked on the coast. So Onag, after seeing these Spanish sailors out in the bay, after being shipwrecked, he let them come in here to Doe and stay for as long as they wanted.
So he gave refuge to
Exactly,
the
yeah.
Spanish sailors. That's interesting.
Yeah, and this was at a time when many of the Irish, when they saw these Spaniards all along the west coast, they would have brought them in, seen how rich and powerful they were, slaughtered them, and just taken their things. So they weren't too nice to the Spanish at that time. But some clans did welcome them in, and especially people like Onag gave them refuge, and they actually made very powerful allies in doing that.
Right.
Yes, so the MacSweeneys and the O'Donnells had a very strong allegiance, or I suppose link with the Spanish then after that.
That's right. I think one of them is there's one of the member of the Spanish aristocracy. What's his name? The Duke de Tetuan, and I think he's related to the O'Donnells. It's
Really?
Yeah, I remember reading that somewhere.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I'll tell you a story about the O'Donnells actually in Spain later on, so it kind of ties in with what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So after that, then the next MacSweeney chieftain, the very last one here, was a man called Maelmurra and Vath of Wee, or Miles of the Yellow Staff. And he was here in the late 1500s, and when he was chieftain here in 1599, he surrendered Doe to the English side. So he betrayed his clan and gave it over to the English in return for a knighthood. And that's where he got his yellow staff. So that was a marker of his knighthood then.
Okay.
And 2 years after this, he marched to the Battle of Kinsale with the O'Donnells and the O'Neills to fight against the English once again. So Maelmurra was actually a double agent between the English and the Irish all the way through his career, I suppose, as a chieftain. And he swapped sides up to 5 times between the two.
Good lord.
Yeah, so not a very trustworthy man.
No, I wouldn't say so.
Yeah, but he ended up on the Irish side in the end.
Did he? Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
go on to this
He ended
man.
up on the right side.
I guess so.
Oh, yeah, the Los Patricios.
Yes,
They're known as Los Patricios, yes.
And they were traitors to the American army.
That's right, yeah, they deserted the American army and fought
Yeah,
for the Mexicans.
that's right.
Yeah, they are heroes in Mexico.
Yeah,
I like that, I was like,
part of the restoration work.
Okay.
But in the original design, this fort went the entire way across down to the other wall. So they used this for an important battle tactic then. So in order to get to this floor, you would keep going on stone steps that we started on.
yeah.
And then go and they skip this floor and they go to the floor above. So you actually had to go the whole way up and then down the staircase.
I never knew that. That's clever, yeah.
Yeah, so the important thing about this floor was in times of attack, if
Yeah.
attackers got to the floor above, the defenders would come down this staircase and wait here for them.
Yeah.
And once all the attackers followed, they would sneak up the secret staircase, that corner. So that connects to the top floor, and it would have been covered over by a painting or a tapestry,
Right.
so attackers couldn't see it. And if they pulled it off, all the defenders were up above, and the attackers were trapped in this room.
So this room was there to trap the attackers.
Yeah, so-
they would be making their way back down, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
Clever.
the defenders would wait, and the attackers, they would wait for all the attackers to follow them,
Mm-hmm.
and then once they did, they would all sneak back up. So the defenders would have,
And it was through that then the
Through this staircase.
defenders would hide.
yeah, so both of these
Just like
the
the
store.
store.
And the large gaps in the wall, I guess.
Yes, they're for storage. So this room also kind of doubled as a storeroom now,
I
because
see, it's quite hard to get to. Okay.
so that's why these big offices are there.
Okay.
This one over there? Yeah. So that would have also been covered over then by a painting or something, or a tapestry or a piece of cloth, so that attackers could not see it. And that was quite important.
No, this is secret door, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. And this door then connects to a staircase, which first of all goes to a floor that would have been up here. So you'll see in this wall over there, that's where the beams went across.
So the floor, this part we're standing on, would be just where the base of the tree.
Fireplace
Is
something.
that right? Or the fireplace, yeah.
So yes, that's where the next floor
You
would
can
be.
see, yeah. You can
Yeah.
see where the...
And that's where the beams went there.
Yeah,
It's
the beams.
easiest to visualize. So that would have been the top floor then, and I suppose the most important floor in the tower, because the owners and the chieftains would have stayed up there then.
I see.
Because it was the safest place to be then in times of attack, I suppose. This staircase also goes to the roof, if you look, continues up, and there's a walkway the entire way around outside where archers and lookouts would be then. So that was important for watching for ships passing mainly for trade.
And of course, yeah, given the location, you could see, I guess, ships coming in.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So the seas are that way, so you could get quite a good bird's eye view.
Of course, yeah, that's right.
So I mentioned the English taking over here in the early 1600s, and the first English owners, all the English design then followed those parts.
Okay.
And the next major change didn't come for 170 years after Captain Sanford then. So it really stayed the same for quite a while. But the next change came when a British general moved in here called George Vaughan Hart. And what he did was he changed this castle from this military settlement into a country home for his family. The Irish government then in 1932. And very soon after that, it was completely abandoned then. So the
It
Irish
just started to fall into ruin.
well, it had already kind of been left to fall into disrepair,
Yeah.
but then when the Irish took it over, they just didn't have enough money or interest even to repair their old castles and things. So it was just completely left alone then. So it was just kind of a playground for the locals from then on, and we get people coming in all the time and they say, oh yes, I used to climb around up there and things like that. So not the safest place to play.
No.
So. But yeah, thankfully then in the 1990s, the OPW came in. So over those years, the roof actually collapsed in this tower. So damp came through the walls and rather the wood in the roof. And when the roof fell, all the floors beneath also fell. So that happened in the 50s and 60s, and this tower, I suppose, was left as a shell of what it was. So the OPW then came in the 1990s and refurbished this tower.
Amazing job.
So yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yes.
So they added a new roof and new floors, and they put this whitewash on the walls as well.
Yeah.
And that really brought it back to what it once was, because they used traditional methods and they kept it all as authentic as possible.
It's kind of like a local ghost story.
Always it kind of sounds a little bit too good to be true, even though
It's good for the tourists.